Beneath the forests of northern Sweden stands a mountain with a heartbeat. Its stone walls hum even when the wind is still. Soldiers once called it the Lock of the North. Officially, it was built to stop an invasion. Unofficially, no one is sure what it was built to contain. For more than a century, engineers, soldiers, and later, scientists disappeared behind its steel doors. When it was sealed, the hum never stopped. Tonight, we go inside Boden Fortress, where Sweden buried its fears, its secrets, and maybe something else. At the start of the 1900s, Sweden watched the Russian Empire grow across the border. After losing Finland, the generals decided, next time, Sweden wouldn't fall. 5 forts were carved into granite: Rödbergsfortet, Södra Åberget, Degerberget, Mjösjöberget, and Gammallängsberget, forming a defensive ring around the town of Boden. Thousands of workers lived underground for years, blasting tunnels through permafrost. They built power stations, barracks, hospitals, and artillery chambers buried beneath hundreds of feet of rock. By 1916, the fortress was complete, a hidden city under the Arctic snow. Life inside felt like exile. The air was filtered, the light artificial. Soldiers spent months without sunrise, hearing only machines breathe. Some wrote home about the hum, a vibration in the walls that grew louder the longer you listened. Engineers blamed the ventilation fans. The men weren't so sure. They said the mountain had learned to echo them, as if it were listening back. When Europe burned again in 1939, Boden stayed quiet, but not idle. During the Cold War that followed, Sweden upgraded the fortress in silence. New cables ran beneath the old ones, connecting command rooms to distant antennas. Declassified papers later mentioned strategic communications nodes. Historians call that phrase what it really was: command and control for nuclear response. Sweden's secret weapons project, Program S, tested components for atomic warheads. If nuclear conflict ever reached Scandinavia, Boden was where the government would retreat and where the order would be given. Then the fortress changed purpose. In the 1960s, a sealed sector appeared on base diagrams, Section E. Officially, environmental endurance training. Unofficially, isolation research. Soldiers were kept underground for weeks, monitored through one-way glass. Logs describe insomnia, hallucinations, and temporal distortion. One entry ends mid-sentence, the pen dragged across the page. Decades later, when contractors opened an old ventilation duct, they found microphones still wired to nowhere, recording silence. By the 1970s, Sweden's public stance was peace and neutrality. But convoys still arrived at Boden at night, unmarked trucks escorted by military police. Locals saw containers lowered into the mountain labeled biological material. Inside the fortress, ventilation systems were expanded, sealed laboratories constructed. A few engineers spoke later of containment chambers and cryogenic storage. Whether they were studying Arctic pathogens, radiation effects, or something else, no one outside Section E ever knew. When the project ended, the entire wing was flooded with chemical foam and sealed behind a new blast wall. The hum grew louder after that. 1946. Before the experiments, before Section E, Sweden faced another mystery. Across the north, civilians reported glowing missiles crossing the sky, the ghost rockets. Radar stations at Boden tracked several of them. Operators claimed objects changed direction mid-air, then vanished over the Gulf of Bothnia. The Boden radio bunker, which once transmitted Sweden's first broadcast, intercepted strange bursts of data that repeated every 91 seconds, never decoded. The files were labeled meteorological anomalies and classified indefinitely. Some theorists believe Section E wasn't built for human tests at all. but to study whatever those signals came from. After decommissioning in 1998, the government opened only one site, the Rödbergsfortet Fort, as a museum. The rest were left to snow and silence. Urban explorers began sneaking into the closed tunnels. Most left quickly. A few never returned. The ones who did told the same story. Sounds that followed them through the dark, footsteps pacing just beyond flashlight range. Shadows that shifted against the walls even when no one moved. The metallic hum rising until their cameras glitched. One explorer described a low voice whispering in Swedish through his radio mic. "Leave the archive closed." He left the country 2 days later. Beneath Rödberget, there's said to be a final level. Its door marked Archiv. Workers restoring the fort in 2004 claimed to feel cold air rushing from a hairline crack in the wall. Inside, they glimpsed steel shelving and a light still glowing. When they returned the next morning, the wall had been welded shut. No record of any archive appears in the site's blueprints. Locals say the hum is strongest there. Today, Boden is quiet again. The fortress is a tourist stop, limited hours, guided tours, souvenir shop. The official line, no nuclear command, no experiments, no secrets. Just a historic relic of Sweden's defense. But inside sealed chambers, moisture drips onto powered cables. Instruments still tick in the dark. And the hum, the same hum soldiers heard a century ago, never stops. Officially, Sweden confirms Boden Fortress was a conventional artillery defense built in 1901, upgraded through the 1950s, and closed in 1998. There are no verified records of nuclear command centers, biological programs, or unexplained phenomena. That's the official story. But we, in the unknown files, know what official really means, and sometimes what a nation buries out of fear keeps breathing in the dark. If you enjoyed the journey inside Boden Fortress, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss the next secret bunker we explore.